So talk to me a little bit about Ether and Bitcoin, because I know that you are legging into Ethereum from Bitcoin, but ever since this El Salvador announcement, there's been a relative change. When I look at the assets, I look at all of the assets, on a week basis, many of them are down. Bitcoin has seen a bid. Do you think that's just a spike on the news and then that's going to fade, or is there something going on there?
No, I think people allocated more to Ethereum because it had been going up. Both spaces were missing a positive news story. Bitcoin gets the news story. People reallocate money from Ethereum into Bitcoin. Pretty normal stuff. And the ETH Bitcoin cross went quite far. It's got a significant resistance at about 0.08. I think once it breaks that, it goes much, much higher. But I think a correction where Bitcoin outperforms for a few months, 2 months, 3 months, I think would be healthy and normal. I think then we start coming in to the new ETH 1559 token and the changes that's probably pretty good story for ETH. So I think ETH tends to outperform. We had Kirill Sokolov interviewed Joey Krug on the platform. Great interview as ever. What's amazing is Kirill's been around a long time. He's not a spring chicken, but he's been all, and many people consider him, from traditional financial markets. He's been all over this crypto thing for a long time. Him and I are good friends, and I've always been amazed about his thought leadership in this space. So he interviews Joey Krug as the opposite end of the age group and as an equal outperforming success. And Joey was actually talking, his view as well is probably that Ethereum outperforms as we start moving into this early next year into the proof of stake mechanism. It'll probably be a buy the rumor, sell the fact. You get there and then it's all in the price. But so I think it's Bitcoin first, then ETH, and when ETH goes, all of the tokens go up as well. So we're going to see some crazy times ahead. I'm still remain extremely positive. So the Bitcoin correction question, I've said all the way through, you're going to expect a 50% correction in the middle of this. We've had a 50%. Could it go to 60%? Is it finished here? Who knows? But it's going to take a while to digest, so it's not going to rally and go in a V shape. But in a few months, my guess, and I have no idea, my guess and all the work I've ever done on this is that we should be seeing higher prices for the rest of the year. So around this phase, buy the dip if you can. If you're able to, again, don't use leverage, be cautious, understand what risks you're taking, but I think it's a great opportunity. So that's the general rule of thumb for that. El Salvador, the honest answer is, I don't know. I know everyone's got a hot take, oh my God. The point being is, they're allowing it as, not as their main currency, but as another one. So you can use it, and they've said all businesses, etc., have to accept it. The issue is El Salvador is an interesting case because their currency is actually their economy is dollarized.
Right, exactly.
So they're not having currency volatility. They're not Argentina, right? So they're not looking for an escape from currency volatility, which people are confusing it with. So why are they doing it? Because their currency's not being devalued. So they're not living with an economic shock. A lot of it is remittances, of which the Strike network is great for remittance payments. So a lot of it's for that, and also gives them access to a saving product that has historically done very well. It's a 213% return a year over the last 12 years. But the flip side is it's incredibly volatile. So if you're a poor farmer and you've suddenly made what looks like $1,000 because you put your savings in Bitcoin and it's gone up 300%, and then your savings fall by 70% in the crypto winter, that's going to scare a lot of people. And if they're not used to currency volatility because they've got a currency board now, I'm not sure how good that is. I think it's interesting. I think people will figure out how to use it, what its use case is. The point being is everyone jumps to a conclusion. I'm not going to jump to a conclusion. I think at the margin, it's good for Bitcoin. Clearly it's driving the narrative. Clearly a bunch of other countries are looking at it. I've confirmed conversations on that front as well. Everybody's looking at this. People are trying to figure out how it works for them. And that's great. Is this the panacea? Is this the great, a nation moving into Bitcoin? No. But I tell you what was genius out of it, is everybody's now started using volcanoes. Bitcoin is a volcano, because when it came to, well, you should mine this for your reserves, now it gets interesting. Should an economy like El Salvador have Bitcoin in their reserves? Without question, they should. But how do they get it? Without spending other money from their reserves, and they probably don't have enough reserves. And the nice part is they figured out they can mine it because they got volcanoes, and those volcanoes have massive geothermal springs. So basically free green electricity. And so now El Salvador, and pretty much anybody else with a volcano with that kind of nice setup, can mine Bitcoin at a country level, generate a asset that they can put on their reserve balance sheet that will grow over time and protect them from the general devaluation of the US dollar in fiat money terms, the debasement effect. So at that level, brilliant. At remittance level, brilliant. Everything else, unproven. If you dollarized to a 70, if you de-dollarized and adopted a 70-volt asset, you're going to utterly destroy your economy, because nobody has the ability to forecast or hedge currency in that kind of market, and it's very expensive to do so. So we need to understand moneyness really in this equation. What works as money, what works as store of value, what works as a reserve asset, and don't confuse the whole lot, because you are utterly going to destroy every industry in El Salvador if you can completely convert to a 70-volt currency. And the moment the currency goes to the roof, their costs change, collapse, their costs change, imports go up, imports go down by such huge swings. I mean, that would literally hold out everybody. So
right, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.